My name is Sheila Belk, and I'm married to Joey Belk. We have two beautiful daughters, and we have three furry dogs. My life in this house started back in 2006. So I grew up from the Philippines. I was born in the Philippines. I have three siblings. I'm the second in the family. Our life is a little bit different from here. Being in the United States, we play in our neighborhood, but more likely with the supervision of my mom, because my dad is a merchant marine. He is always away. So the four of us will play together. So growing up in there is like we have our house are close with each other. We know each other. We are family. Our next door will be our cousins, my aunts. Our back door will be my father's relatives. So it's pretty much is a small town wherein everybody, I guess, know everybody. When we go to this school, back then when I go with my mom is a teacher or was a teacher, we would walk about a mile or less than that. So commute is pretty much not common using a car, but we do walk to the school during grade school. But of course, when we were in high school, we would, ride a public vehicle, which is very common in the Philippines. And people will walk, even though if it is a mile, it's very typical for people to walk there without using a vehicle. So that's pretty much common in the Philippines. And when you get out of your house, you see people in there, unlike over here that you don't see anyone. So that's really the big difference. So you get out of your house and you wave at people, and that's what I do not do here because I don't see people when I get out of the house. So that's a big difference being here in the South or in the United States than being in the Philippines. The fun memories I could talk about being in the Philippines is, what I've said is, we live in a neighborhood wherein it's a family. Across the street are my grandparents, my aunts, and our neighbor are my cousins. So we could just get out and go to my grandma's house and then play with my cousins. That was really fun. Of course, back then we don't have cell phones. So we play balls or we play with our slippers, and we use any material we could find outside our house just to play with it. So we use our slippers to toes. We use coins to toes of how far we can toss those coins, which my children have not played with it. Of course, we have animals. We live in the farm, so we have dogs, and our neighbor, which my cousins as well, they have pigs. When you're growing up as a kid, you don't really care as long as you're having fun with the animals around you. So we would go and look at the pigs, the chickens. But I think those were really fun memories as a child. In growing up with my siblings, we always are together and we play. And that's more that I could say that is really fun growing up in the neighborhood wherein you have a family. Being in the Philippines, when you watch a movie, you watch the American dream. So my sister came here in the United States 10 years ahead of me. She was 21 years old, and she would send me pictures about how United States would look like, and especially seeing her in the pictures in the snow. We don't have snow in the Philippines, so to see, wow, there's a snow is really cool. And you would see in the movies, like during winter when they're breathing while they're filming, you can see the smoke out from their mouth. That to me was really cool as a child. So when I have the opportunity to come here in the United States, I was so excited. The American dream of seeing the lights, the beautiful buildings, it's just so developed because that's what I saw in the movie. So when I landed 2001, my sister was in California at that time. Well, she's still in California. I was so amazed of the airport. It was so huge, full of lights, and so many cars. It's like, wow, this is United States, this is America. So it was a little bit challenge for me to look for a job then, because I'm new and they're busy, but they really supported me throughout. And eventually I was able to find a work, but it's a work that I could, have a little bit of an income. It's more of, at that time I don't have a computer, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to apply. So that was really a challenge until, I find some friends. So how do? You meet friends, you meet people. And that's where I was able to find a job. One of the struggles as well was language. I know how to speak English, but I have an accent. So if I talk to an American or to you all, then it will be, I have to look at your mouth of how you speak, because English is not my primary language. Even though English is the language back in the Philippines, it comes to school. But I thought those were the first experiences that I had back then, being new in the United States. So, I was 30, I believe, 35 back then. I have a stable job. Part of it now is, getting married. So me and my husband met in California. We were introduced through my cousin. And when I know that he's from Mississippi, the only thing I know about Mississippi is that the Mississippi River. That's the thing I know when I was in the Philippines. It's the longest river, and that is Mississippi. Other than that, I don't really have much history about Mississippi or the South. So when after the marriage, we both decide and talked, where are we going to settle down? From California, I moved to Vegas. That's where Joey, now my husband, works. He used to work in Vegas, so I moved to Vegas. And Vegas is great, but it's not the place that we wanted to live in. So he mentioned about that his parents is sick, who was sick at that time. He wants to move to Mississippi. So I told my family, hey, you know what, Joey wanted to go back to Mississippi. So my friends were telling me, what are you going to do in Mississippi? I said, work? I said, what do you mean by that? Well, it's being California and in Vegas, Mississippi is like, so you're going to marry a redneck? One thing that they mentioned to me at that time was, do you think you'll be okay there? People might burn you. So that's the one thing that's like, what do you mean? So again, I read a history of Mississippi or being in the South, of, being different, race of being white and black, until getting to know the history. I said, oh, okay, I didn't know that still exists, or maybe not. I really don't know at that time. Because in California, I don't feel any difference at all, whatever your color is. I mean, just me. I don't know about others, but I never thought about my color, because there's different people in there, black, white, or whatever the color is, doesn't matter. So when I came here, it's like, when I planned to move here, that was some of the impressions of the colleagues I have there in California. But when I moved here, it was okay. A little bit awkward at first, because I don't see many Asians here in Mississippi at that time. So I moved back here around 2006 with my in-laws. They really welcomed me. And from there, I never thought that I would stay here for now 18 years or maybe 19 years. The plan was only to stay here for 2 years. And that was to take care of my husband's parents. But, I started a family, so I now have to take care of my family, myself. And it's been 18 years, I believe. So if you look at it, it wasn't bad. I was able to adapt and everything. Community-wise, get to know people. The first thing, of course, aside from, have a place to live in, is, of course, job. And aside from the job, to be involved in the community is to look for a church. And back then we used to live in Pearl. The church is just a mile from us. So that's pretty much more of, aside from having a family, that was kind of the second family I have, is the church, wherein I bring the kids to the church and have play dates. Because not in our neighborhood that then, there's not many kids that of my children age, but maybe because I just don't know much anyone, in our neighborhood. And Joey being the only child, my husband, so my children has no cousins on his side that are of their age. So that's one thing, like I need to reach out to a community like the church for my kids to play with. And eventually I meet people like Filipinos in the community and was able to find a Filipino American community that I could speak my own language and talk with my language instead of just having an English language to talk with. So that helps me, I guess, get out to know people who are Filipinos, and we could just hang out together, eat the foods that are Filipinos, and just talk your own language. It helps a lot being in a foreign country or in a foreign place. So that started with being here in the South. Is like, it became I would say a second home. And of course, language-wise, sometimes I'm a little bit hesitant to speak because in my mind, people may not understand me. So I would speak, I guess, low or softly or not loud because I don't want them. I would say I'm more conscious of, if I speak, they may not understand me. So that's the reason I tried not to speak. But later on, I told myself I need to speak up so that I could talk to people and relate to them, and I'm willing to share with them where I came from so they would understand me. One of also the challenge is when I speak, of course, if there is any argument or whether it's work or, just being at home, I cannot easily speak because Joey will not understand me. So I will speak in my own language. So instead of having an argument, we just decided to laugh because now he can understand me. And so I will just speak my own language, which just turned out to be funny. But I thought, this is what you call, diversity. So I don't want to say that's a disadvantage, but for me, if that person is willing to listen, I think being a different in some ways is a good way because you can learn from that person, and out of knowing where that person comes from, it will help you understand why, and for that person has no idea where that culture would be, then I think it's a good lesson to learn somebody's culture and why they're doing that stuff and why they're not doing the stuff, because you never know that without talking to that person, it's hard to just say that, and it's hard to judge. But when you try to talk to that person, now you realize where that person is coming from. So to me, even if at home, even at sometimes when Joey, my husband, won't understand me or my kids doesn't understand me, I will tell them, you're so lucky that you grew up here and speak, English the way you do, and I have to think before I speak because that's not my primary language. But so they really uplift me. Mommy, you're okay. We understand you, but sometimes, you just have to repeat because we might not able to hear you. So I think it would really be helpful for a person that, like me, that didn't grow up in the South or didn't grow up in the States, to ask and to let that person speak and understand, to make sure that, the culture is welcomed as well, and to learn not just by culture, but to learn how is it to go from one place to another that you are a foreign. And that way you will be able to live that you'll be comfortable with and enjoy being with the community. So that is, to me, it's really helpful knowing a person who has a different culture and keep on talking to the person, especially here in the South, that I guess because of the history, it's nice to know that where that person is coming from. I think that's really helpful to know the person. There's one thing I would like to say is that coming from a different country, it's not easy to move and settle to another place. One, definitely that I know I could speak English, but it's not as fluent as you, or maybe the accent is different. So if you don't understand me, or someone else the same is in my shoes, I think it's better to ask, can you repeat that again, and just listen to make sure that person will not be hesitant to speak what they wanted to speak. Also, I think being me is unique, that that I want to be a part of the community, but sometimes, or in my mind, there will be a question like, are they gonna welcome me because I'm different? So with B is, in my mind, I would say, am I pushing myself to be liked or to be welcomed by the community when maybe I'm not? So those are the things, like, as personally, I would like to get out and speak, but at the same time, I would like to be with a group of people different from me, but welcome me gladly, whether I am from this community or not. And I want to be felt welcome as well, so I could help share my stories in some ways. But I really want to be a part of the community in a way that whatever my color is, whether I grew up here in the South or not, I want them to see that, hey, I want to be part of you, especially in the community or in the church, or even just being a neighbor of, as a family. I think knowing that I don't have a biological family here in Mississippi, it's not easy. Because when you have a family of your own, you can just knock on somebody in your sister's house or brother's house. It doesn't matter how you look like. You don't have to dress up. You can wear your PJs and shorts or whatever, because it is your family. You can just go. But me being not from the South and not having an immediate or a biological family here is hard, especially on occasions like holidays or long weekends. My kids would always say, Mommy, where we're gonna go and who do we gonna hang out with? They are not really my cousins. So there's a little bit of a wish that I have a family here, so I can get out and bring my kids to what they call their cousins and play with their cousins over others that grew up here with a family here. So that being said, I'm very thankful for those family that really welcome me and welcome my family as part of their family, though we are not blood, and they welcome me on occasions like Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, or any holidays, that we are welcomed as a family, even though we are not blood related. So that's really one thing that to those people I know, that they really invited me, it means a lot to me. As I guess quite a few people I know, like you all night, the Bridges family have really welcomed me. Oh, don't let me cry. And they really consider me as a family. So that's really a big thing on my part. To have a family not blood related is really a big part of being here in the South. So I'm thankful for those family who have really welcomed me so much. My name is Shelia, and that is my story here in the South.